Hey, so we're on Memory KS9, but this isn't going to be a Memory KS9 video right yet. So, I've leveled a bunch of characters. I'm currently working on Luca. We're just going to go to character details. I don't know what I'm doing here. So, we're going to talk about team building a little. I assume that people usually know what they're what I'm doing or what I'm building when I create these Memory KS videos, but that's not always the case. As I mentioned in some previous videos, I watch some strategy guides, I look at different websites about builds and things of that matter. So, and I assume that most people have played some kind of game, like, be it Magic the Gathering, which is the other major content on my channel, League of Legends, which is extremely popular, as a MOBA game, or Genshin Impact, which is another game by Hoyoverse that is very similar in a lot of ways to Honkai Star Rail. So let's talk about one of the most basic themes of the concept of a hypercarry. It's typically a character that has high DPS, and that you build the team around, and with them, they're your main damage dealer. If they die, you're in trouble. And the other three characters typically support them. And if you played Genshin Impact, the character is going to be like Raiden Shogun or Hu Tao, ones that are massive, very powerful damage dealers, and the rest of the team is supports that augment their damage. In Honkai Star Rail, the first one, obviously, that was a banner character was Seela from The Hunt. She does incredible damage. Her traces, all optimized, moving her forward, making kills, doing crazy damage. Seal is the first hyper carry. I don't have Imbibit or Lune. He's another one. Jingliu's another powerful carry. Blade, not so much. He's more a support DPS, but he's pretty similar, I think. So, we could talk about them. The Hunt, Yan King kind of does it, but he's not really as good. Topaz, she is situational. The destruction characters also kind of fill that role. Clara's really good, but she's more of a secondary DPS, a character like that. Erudition, Jingyuan fits the bill. In the Nihility role, Kafka, Silverwolf can kind of be a sub DPS or a DPS, but Kafka could definitely be a hyper carry. Typically, your team's going to consist of one main DPSer, usually a Hunter destruction character or a Kafka, and then you're going to have your support to them. I don't have Branya, she's kind of a key, but Tingyun's really powerful, Yukong's really good for imaginary, Asta's great for speed, the Nihility, the debuffers, Pella being an incredible one with her defense shred, Silverwolf giving an extra weakness, and some of the abundance characters, well, we'll get to them in a second. But yeah, so typically you're going to have, one DPS character, like I said, your carry, one Harmony character to buff them, or one Nihility character to debuff the enemy, and then you're going to have a Sustain, who's either going to be, well, when we first started, it was, you had to have, the main character, and then typically like a healer like Natasha or Bailu. And if you had one of the stronger healers, if you had Bailu, you could get away with just having her, and maybe March 7th and your main character is the other one. Or Gepard was also a good sustain. But once we got into the banner characters, Luocha became a sustain unlike any other, and Fu Xuan is an incredible sustain. Those are some of the key 5-star characters of that. I remember my first teams, I was running Natasha with, I joked, I called it the mom and dad team. It was Natasha and my main character. And then the other one, I just kind of had to deal with the fact that I was running Clara as my carry, and I was using March 7th, with her shielding and enhanced damage. The shielding causes enhanced aggro, which would make Clara more effective. But I could only go so far with that. And then the day that Luocha dropped in 1.1, I was able to clear Memory of Chaos. He made my team. He teams very well with Clara. And, the sky was the limit at that point. So, yeah, typically your team's going to have a carry or a DPS and excuse me, a healer or support. We're going to mess around with a few different team comps like that. As you've seen in my previous videos, I pair Blade with Jingliu a lot. He works as a sub DPS, so in the case that something random would happen and Jingliu would die, Blade could still kind of carry the bad damage. And typically when I'm going out into the world and doing you know, just clearing things. I have a team like this. I have Blade as my DPS, and Kafka as a sub DPS, and then Tingyun, who can power up both of them, and then Luoch is my sustain. I don't really care about... Luoch is able to do all the things. He's able to attack and whatever. The other end of the spectrum, when I'm doing bosses typically, I will use this hypercarry team, which is a team I use a lot. Not hypercarry, but a double DPS. So Jinglu, Blade, because of their interaction, and Pella for the defense shred, and also helping Jinglu. Tingyun would also fit in this spot, really strong. I don't even know what other teams I have. I have the Ladies' Night team with Fushuan, Silverwolf, so close to Mono Quantum and Kafka. Again, I'm not as crazy over this team as I used to be, just because of the skill point issues, because Sayla wants skill points, Silverwolf wants skill points, and Kafka always wants skill points. One of my other teams, want to take a guess? One that I haven't used in a while. This is a really fun team if you're doing Simulated Universe for the Elation, because Clara, Blade, and Kafka all have follow-up attacks, and they're fun. I really like this. It's got full spectrum coverage. It's cool. What do I have team 4? This is an old school team. This is the tank with my main character, fire main character. Natasha's the healer, and then Tingyun and Yan King is my DPS, and then my support for her. Team 5. This is the new team. Although Silverwolf is about to get replaced because I've powered up Asta to level 80, and we're gonna mess around with this team when we start doing Memory of Chaos. That's what I'm looking to do for Memory Chaos 9 and 10. So that's a little bit about the team building. But again, if you look at these comps, I've got my support. I've got, in this team, the carry is Kafka. So she's the main DPS, and both Gwenephen and Silverwolf can support that. But like I said, it's going to be Asta is going to be doing even more support, making Kafka even faster and able to do more attacks. But like I said, on my 2N, this is kind of like just a comfy team for killing bosses and clearing content, because it's very fast at this. The hyper carry double DPS team, it's fun. And as you notice, like I said, I'm using Luocha and Fushuan in every one of these teams separate, except for this team. Like I said, old school. I haven't changed it yet. So yeah, if you're interested in more ways to build teams or discussion about team building, feel free to leave a comment below. I really like it. I like the way that the game flows and the way that the characters are done.